If I told you that in just 24 months, some major US states lost population faster than during the 2008 crisis, would you believe it? That's not speculation. That's data. California lost over 340,000 residents in a few years. New York lost nearly 500,000 residents. Illinois continued to lose population for over a decade. In total, these three states alone contributed to the largest population shift since 1945. Americans don't migrate for new dreams. They migrated because of old bills. Because rent is so high, many people say, "I'm paying to suffer." They left behind a city so expensive it's suffocating. The neighborhoods are no longer as safe as they used to be. Bills higher than imagination. This video will take you through the 10 states that are losing population the fastest, explain why they are losing population, and more importantly, what domino effects await. Let's start with the first state, the one once considered the American dream, but also the one from which the most people leave. You know, people often say California is the place where the sun never sets. But in recent years, the fastest thing to disappear here is the hope of the middle class. According to some statistics, over 340,000 residents left the state in a short period of time. 340,000 people. Try to imagine an entire NFL stadium, not just full, but overflowing, and they're all lined up to drive out of the state. A sight that would make anyone wonder, what happened to this paradise? Let's start with something that makes more people want to cry than the whole experience of renting in their youth. A 2-bedroom apartment for $3,500 a month. $3,500. That means it's almost the same as a new car. But you can't drive it. You're only allowed to stay temporarily. And the problem isn't the numbers, it's the feeling. Working all month, paying the bills, and looking at your account to find only silence. House prices are rising, insurance prices are rising, everything is rising. Some people jokingly say, in California, even the sunshine seems more expensive. It was just a joke, but after hearing it, it felt painfully true. What few people talk about is that it's not just because of high housing prices. California has a complex system, strict housing regulations and building permit procedures that take longer than a football season. If you've ever thought, why don't they build more houses to lower prices? Then the answer is, whether it can be built is another matter. Additionally, operating costs, taxes, and the relocation of many businesses to Texas or Arizona have disrupted the middle-class labor market. Wages are stagnant, bills are skyrocketing. The result? The middle class, the backbone of America, has to consider leaving. The consequences are more widespread than you think. Texas, Nevada, Idaho are receiving so many people that the infrastructure there is also starting to cry out for help. One person moved out, 2 people moved out, then thousands of people moved out, creating a domino effect that the entire country had to face. But perhaps what touches people the most isn't the data, but it's the feeling that you no longer belong where you once loved. Many people are leaving California not because they hate it, but because they can no longer afford to stay. Some people say, in the old days, the California dream was blue seas and sunsets. Now, it's a rent receipt as long as a hospital bill. What do you think? If you had to pay $3,500 a month for a regular apartment, would you stay or join the line to leave like the other 340,000 people? Leave your comments. I want to hear the real perspectives from those who have lived through these times. And if you think California is already a wallet buster, just wait for the next state, where people have to choose between staying in the city or feeling safe every night. Let's continue. If California is a chameleon's paradise, then New York is like an antique clock that's still ticking, but running on money. And unfortunately, many middle-class Americans no longer have enough energy to keep it running. According to some recent statistics, New York loses tens of thousands of residents each year, and if you put them all together, you could fill an entire small county. The only difference is, they didn't come, they left. The reason? It's very simple. In New York, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment exceeds $3,000 per month. $3,000 for a space where you sometimes have to turn carefully so you don't hit the wall. Some people quip, living in New York is like learning to fit your life into a shoebox for $3,000. Expensive is not a new thing. But what's new is the gap between costs and the actual standard of living. Wages remained stagnant while everything else skyrocketed. Food costs, accommodation, parking fees, and even the price of morning coffee soared like a Broadway star. The deeper cause is not just housing prices. State taxes piled on top of city taxes make many people feel like every time they open their wallets, someone is knocking on the door. Some areas face security issues, making elderly people feel unsafe when taking evening walks. And finally, the fatigue of having to compete to survive every day. Something not everyone over 50 is still interested in. The impact you can see immediately is that families with young children are moving to the suburbs or straight to New Jersey. The retirees flew down to Florida, where the sun is warm, taxes are easy, and no one is asking them to pay $3,000 for an apartment with a closet. New York was once called the place where, if you make it, you're part of it. Now it's, if you want to survive financially, you get out of it. But the biggest question is, if a city that was once the heart of the American economy can't even keep its residents, what does that tell us about the current cost of living? And you? If you had to pay over $3,000 to live in an apartment where you had to maneuver, strategically, would you stay? Please share your thoughts. And if you think New York is heavily taxed, take a look at the next state, where many residents say they feel taxed on their very breath. Let's continue. If California gives people headaches with rent prices and New York stresses them out with the cost of living, then Illinois has another specialty: taxes. Taxes here are like an uninvited guest who always arrives at mealtime and sits down at the table before you can say anything. According to some statistics, Illinois has had negative net migration for several years in a row. That means the number of people leaving is as stable as bank interest, except the interest is low, and the number of people leaving is high. In Chicago, this is so obvious that locals jokingly call their state the state of exit. The reason is not far to seek. Property taxes in many areas are among the highest in the country. Even an ordinary house has to bear a tax burden that makes many families reconsider their entire budget. Just imagine receiving a tax bill every year that's equivalent to a whole vacation in Florida, and you'll understand why so many people pack their bags. But behind that surface, there's a deeper story: the burden of public pensions accumulated over generations. The cost of maintaining the public system is very high, and the decline of manufacturing, once the heart of Illinois. All of this creates pressure that ultimately falls on the shoulders of ordinary people. Taxes are increasing so rapidly that some people say, "I'm not running from crime, I'm running from tax bills." It's not a joke, but the way he said it made people laugh and then sigh. The impact on life is not difficult to recognize. The middle class, those who pay the majority of taxes, are the most clearly affected. Some small businesses are shrinking or leaving the state. Housing prices in many areas have been affected because fewer people want to buy. And young people? They often leave before this burden can even find them. What Illinoisans mention most is not that I hate taxes, but rather, I don't know if I still have a financial future if I stay here. That's what makes many people decide to leave, a vague but haunting worry. When taxes increase faster than wages, you don't need a prophet to guess what's about to happen. What do you think? If your tax bill increases every year at a rate higher than your income growth, will you patiently stay or will you seek a more breathable state? I'd love to hear about your experience. And if you thought Illinois was sad, take a look at the next state, where the population loss rate wasn't just a few years, but stretched for decades like an endless mournful song. We continue with West Virginia. West Virginia is not a place people leave because rent is too high or taxes are too burdensome. The pain of this state lies elsewhere. Here, the future leaves before the people. And that's what makes many older people sigh. If you've ever driven through an old mining town in Appalachia, you'll see a very familiar scene. Dilapidated wooden houses, empty porches, and long roads where only a few windows are lit up each night. No noise, no traffic jams, no $3,000 rent, but emptiness. The fact is, West Virginia has been steadily losing population for decades. This is not a short-term drop due to a crisis or economic volatility. This is a long story. So long that many locals say they don't remember the last time the town was crowded. The underlying cause is well known, but few want to mention it. The economy is dependent on a weakening mining industry. New job opportunities are not sufficient to retain young people. Small towns don't attract businesses. And most importantly, workers don't see a clear financial future if they stay. To put it mildly, West Virginia doesn't drive people away with cost, but with a lack of options. The impact is clear and much sadder than in many other places. Schools are forced to close because there aren't enough students. Real estate is as cheap as a used car, but few are interested. Many communities are left with only elderly people, while the younger generation has chosen a different path. What makes many people sympathize with West Virginia isn't the numbers, but it's a feeling. I used to live in a town like that, and I understand that sadness. That's a very real emotion. Sometimes leaving isn't a choice, but the only way to have a future. Some people say, in West Virginia, the only thing that increases steadily every year is the number of for sale signs. And you? What do you think? If you live in a place where opportunities are slowly disappearing, would you try to hold on or seek a fresh start? And now we come to a state that everyone thinks, if it's cheap, it must be easy to live in. But it turned out, cheap wasn't enough to keep people around. Welcome to Mississippi. Mississippi is a living testament to a very American paradox. Cheap is not always a bargain. Because here, the cheapest thing is sometimes the future. Many rankings show Mississippi as being among the states with the lowest cost of living in the country, which sounds very appealing in theory. A spacious house for only half the price compared to many other states. The bills for groceries, dining out, and services are all soft. But even with lighter wallets, people continue to leave. Some recent data shows that Mississippi's population has steadily declined over the years, not due to rent or taxes, but because of a different feeling. A lack of long-term prospects. The harsh reality in Mississippi lies in this. You can buy a beautiful house for the price of an old pickup truck. But the bigger question is, what will you do on Monday morning? Quality job opportunities are not abundant. Low average income. Many towns rely on old economic sectors, while the younger generation desires a more dynamic environment. Some people say that in Mississippi, your future can be as vast as the fields, but as limited as the menu at the small diner at the end of town. Deeper down, there are 3 issues silently pushing people away. High-income professions are severely lacking. Rural areas are difficult to attract new businesses to. Infrastructure is developing slower than the rate at which the world is changing. And when you're young, standing at a crossroads in life, will you choose to stay or choose a place with more than one path to take? The impact is clearly visible. Schools are merging due to a lack of students. Young people are leaving, the workforce is aging, which slows down the economy, and thus there are even fewer options. A repeating cycle, slowly but surely. A gentle but painful irony. The cost of living is so low that the population's low too. Many people living in Mississippi share, "I'm not leaving because I hate this place. I left so my children would have more than one door to open." That's not a reproach. That's honesty. If you could live cheaply but not well, what would you choose? Are you staying, or are you going to look for a place with more opportunities? Share your perspective. And now, we move on to a completely different story. A wealthy, high-income state, but still losing population. Continuing with Connecticut. If Mississippi left due to a lack of opportunity, Connecticut had a completely different story. Many opportunities, much money, and many people leaving. Sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? But that's the reality of one of the wealthiest states in the United States. According to some recent statistics, Connecticut has a much higher median income than many other states, but it has still experienced negative net migration for many years in a row. In other words, even the people have more money, they still choose to go elsewhere. If you gathered all the people who left the state in a few years, you could fill an entire coastal town. Beautiful sea, beautiful houses, just missing one thing: people. What's going on in such a wealthy place? First is property tax, something many residents describe as no joke. A house in Connecticut might be picture perfect, with a large garden and a peaceful street. But the annual tax bill is enough to make a family reconsider their financial future. Then there are insurance, service, and living expenses, all so high that some people share they feel like they have to pay to live. And when retirees look at that number, they immediately understand why Florida is so appealing. Warm sunshine, low taxes, and affordable living costs, three things Connecticut can't compete with. A deeper cause, which the media rarely mentions, is that the tax system favors attracting large corporations, but unintentionally burdens the middle class. The population is aging rapidly, leading to increased social service costs. Some new industries are developing slowly, making young people feel they don't belong to the future here. These things have made it difficult for a series of small businesses to expand. Young people are leaving. Retirees are leaving the state. The population is aging faster than the replacement rate. A vortex that Connecticut, no matter how wealthy, will find difficult to avoid. Clearly, people from Connecticut aren't leaving because they hate the place. They're leaving because they're not sure their financial future can last long term. It's a very human, very ordinary concern. What do you think? If the house is beautiful and the income is high, but the bills increase faster each year than you earn, would you stay or look for a more affordable place? And if you think taxes are the most annoying thing, just wait for the next state, where people not only face costs, but also have to live with storms, not always on the weather map. That's the story of Louisiana. Louisiana is one of the few places where people have to live with two types of storms, one from the ocean and one from their bank statements. If you drive through the bayou regions, you'll see a very typical sight: weathered wooden houses, boarded up windows, and for sale signs leaning as if trying to hold on after a strong wind. But the remarkable thing is that even after the storm passed, many homes remained unoccupied. Louisiana's population has been declining for years, and the story isn't just about natural disasters. According to many reports, the average income of people in Louisiana is among the lowest in the country. The problem isn't that they don't work hard, it's that economic opportunities here don't keep pace with the cost of living, especially insurance costs. Louisiana homeowners insurance is like a game people don't want to play but are forced to participate in. In coastal areas, fees sometimes double or even triple within just a few years. Many families say that homeowners insurance has become the second largest expense in their lives, second only to the home itself. When natural disasters repeat, insurance companies withdraw or raise premiums, making people feel like they are living on a boat that must weather both storms and bills. Additionally, an economy reliant on oil and gas makes Louisiana vulnerable. When oil prices go down, jobs are reduced. When oil prices rise, commodity costs also increase. A cycle as unstable as waves crashing on the shore, and the people in the middle were swept along uncontrollably. Many small businesses are struggling in a high-cost and high-risk environment. Low-income earners struggle to make ends meet. Many families have to make a difficult decision: stay in their hometown or leave to seek stability. People left Louisiana not because they didn't love the place, but because they couldn't rely on long-term stability. A house can be repaired after a storm, but finances are eroded every year. It's hard to rebuild. And you? If your home insurance premiums are increasing faster than your wages, would you stay and wait for another hurricane season? And now, we leave the Bay Area for a place that was once the industrial heart of America, but is now losing its rhythm. Continuing with Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania was once a place where the clang of steel hammers echoed like the heartbeat of America. But those sounds are now only in memory. Many statistics show that Pennsylvania has fallen into a steady population decline, and if you drive through the old industrial towns, you'll understand why. The factories that once stood tall like monuments are now silent, with rusty corrugated iron roofs and dusty glass windows. Some towns retain the echoes of the 1960s, beautiful in a nostalgic way, but sad in a way that no one wants to inherit. The problem is, it's not that Pennsylvania doesn't have jobs anymore, but it's good work. That can't keep up with the expectations of the younger generation. When the steel industry weakens and traditional manufacturing sectors innovate slowly, young workers are forced to leave to find better income and clearer opportunities elsewhere. And as they left, Pennsylvania lost something more important than taxes and the economy: its rhythm of life. A deeper cause: infrastructure in many areas is outdated, making it difficult to attract new industries. The housing market is stagnant and not attractive enough for young workers who want to gain experience. Many cities are struggling to transition to a service technology economy. All of this creates the feeling that the state is tired, in the truest sense. Tired from chasing modernization, tired from trying to maintain its manufacturing heritage, and tired from not having enough strength to do both at the same time. Now, the income gap between regions has increased significantly. Small towns are becoming increasingly empty. Young people go far away, while the elderly stay behind, creating a generational gap. Some people describe this feeling very accurately. It's like an old song. Good, but no one plays it anymore. If you live in a city where factories are closing, shops are empty, and the future fades with each passing year, would you stay, or would you also seek a place with brighter lights? And from a weary industrial heart, we arrive at a completely different place. Wide open spaces, beautiful scenery, low cost, but still losing population. Continuing with New Mexico. New Mexico is the kind of place where anyone who drives through has to exclaim, "It's truly beautiful." But the irony is, the more beautiful it is, the harder it is to keep residents. According to various statistics, New Mexico has experienced population decline for several consecutive years. And this is not a sudden drop, but a slow, steady, and very stable decline. Stable in the sense that you look at the numbers and wonder, if the scenery keeps people here, wouldn't New Mexico be as crowded as California by now? The reality isn't in the scenery, it's in the wallet. The average income in this state still falls within the lower range nationwide. High-paying jobs are scarce. New industries are developing slowly. Young people, those who need opportunities the most, are precisely the group that leaves the fastest. You can have a spacious house here at an affordable price. You can walk out the door and see postcard-worthy scenery every day. But by the end of the month, when you open the bank, you'll realize a harsh truth. Beautiful scenery doesn't pay the electricity bill. That's why many people say New Mexico is more of a place to visit than a place to build a life. Deeper dive. Some areas face issues in education and security, causing concern for many young families. Slow economic growth makes it difficult for new businesses to find reasons to invest heavily. Infrastructure in many rural areas is still limited, creating a sense of beautiful but distant. Skilled labor force is leaving, difficult to attract businesses. Fewer businesses mean fewer reasons for young people to stay. A vicious cycle, not as noisy as the larger states, but it lasts for many years. And you? If you had to choose between a beautiful place with limited development potential and a less beautiful place with a clearer future, which would you choose? And now, having traveled through 9 states, the biggest question remaining is, which state is losing population the most, and why is this story important to the entire United States? And that's the picture of the 10 states losing population the fastest in the United States. It's not just the story of one place, but a reminder of what everyone who lives here feels. The cost of living is rising faster than life itself, and the future sometimes doesn't wait for us. But whether to leave or stay, everyone has their own circumstances and reasons. There is no absolutely correct answer. So, what do you think? Will this migration trend continue, or will the United States seek to reverse it? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss future analyses. This video is based on public reports, migration data, and social trend analysis. Not intended to attack any individual, group of people, or community. Only focusing on phenomena, policies, and socio-economic impacts. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next video.